Bring your bank card. You useless thing. Your sister wants to buy a car. My mom snapped at me so loudly the entire living room went silent. Cousins froze mid-bite. My aunt's fork hovered midair. Even the dog stopped barking. And Mom continued, waving her hand like royalty summoning a servant. She also asked for the keys to your cottage. She's celebrating New Year's there with her friends. You'll drop them off today. My sister, Serena, smirked, legs crossed, nails freshly done on my dime.
She didn't even look at me.
Just inspected her phone and whispered, "Make sure the cottage is clean. I don't want the usual smell." My cheeks warmed, not from embarrassment, from the familiar burn of remembering that in this family, I was the ATM with legs. Hi, everyone, my name is Talia Brooks, I'm 29. If you think I stayed quiet because I'm weak.
No.
I stayed quiet because storms don't announce themselves, they build. I opened my mouth to answer, but before I could speak, my grandmother, who had been silent the entire evening, placed her teacup down with a soft click. "Give her the bank card," Mom ordered. "Give her the cottage keys," Serena demanded. "Do it now," Dad warned. But Grandma looked straight at me and said one sentence, soft, but sharp enough to slice the room in half. "Talia, sweetheart, should I tell them what your father confessed to me last week? Or would you like the honor?" My sister's smirk vanished. Mom's face drained. Dad's fork fell to the floor. Serena stood up so fast her chair toppled. What confession? What did you say to her?" she screamed. Grandma just smiled, slow, knowing, dangerous. And then my sister ran out of the house, in nothing but her underwear. Serena's scream echoed down the hallway as she bolted outside in nothing but lace and panic. Guests stood up. Someone gasped. My aunt whispered, "What on earth did she hear?" Mom whirled toward Grandma. "What did you tell her? What lies are you spreading now?" But Grandma didn't even blink. She just adjusted her glasses and said, "Oh, Laura, if you call the truth a lie, it doesn't make it any less true." Dad's chair scraped loudly as he stood.
"Mom."
"Not here. Not today." "Why?" she asked. "Afraid the children will hear what you've done?" The room cracked open. Everyone leaned in, hungry, confused, terrified. Dad pointed at me, gripping the table's edge. "Talia, do not say a word. Not one word." Which was funny, because I hadn't said anything yet. My heart hammered, but Grandma placed a calming hand over mine. "Speak," she whispered. "It's your turn." Mom lunged forward. "Don't you dare let her speak. She'll twist it. She always twists everything." Grandma laughed.
"No, dear.
"That's your specialty." I stood slowly, the entire room watching like a live crime scene. "You all want to know why Serena ran?" I said quietly. "Why Dad doesn't want me to talk. Why Mom is shaking like the house is on fire." Silence. Real silence. The kind that tastes metallic. Dad hissed, "Talia, enough." I looked at him, and for the first time in my life, he looked scared of me.
"Fine," I said.
"Let's start with this. Serena didn't run because of something I did." I lifted Grandma's teacup letter, the one Dad thought she destroyed. "She ran," I continued softly, "because she finally knows where the money for her new car was really coming from." Mom staggered. Dad's face went white, and the entire room leaned forward as I opened the letter. The paper felt heavier than it should have, like it carried the weight of years they thought I'd never uncover. The room tightened around me as I unfolded it. Mom rushed forward. "Talia, stop." Grandma held out her cane, blocking her like a queen defending her knight. "Sit down, Laura. You created this." Mom froze. I took a breath. "This," I said, lifting the letter, "is what Dad gave Grandma when he thought no one else would hear." Dad's jaw clenched. "That letter is private." "So was my bank account," I answered. A murmur rippled through the room. Grandma nodded. "Read it, darling." Dad slammed his fist on the table. "If you read that out loud, you're out of this family. Do you hear me?"
"Out."
Grandma smiled slowly. "Oh, James, if threats worked, she wouldn't be standing right now." I began reading. Mom, I'm transferring $14,000 from Talia's account. She'll think it's a bank error. Serena needs the down payment. Talia never checks her statements. Don't tell her.
Gasps.
A chair fell. Someone whispered, "Oh my God." Mom burst into tears. You weren't supposed to see that. You always have more money than you need. I stared at her. I have more? Mom, I work 2 jobs. I rent a basement apartment. Serena hasn't worked a day in 5 years. Grandma shook her head. And that's not even the worst part. Dad lunged toward me. Give me that letter. Before he could grab it, Grandma tapped her cane sharply on the floor. One more step, James, and they'll hear the second confession too. He froze mid-stride. Kelsey, my cousin, whispered. Second confession? What else did he do? I lowered the first letter. Slowly pulled out the second envelope Dad had forgotten existed. Everything, I said quietly, starts with why they needed the money in the first place. Mom's crying stopped. Dad shut his eyes. Grandma folded her hands. Go on, Talia. Tell them. And I did, starting with the secret that made my sister run half-naked into the snow. I held the second envelope between my fingers, thin, but dangerously alive. The kind of envelope that breaks families. Dad's voice cracked. Talia, please. Don't open that. Not here. I tilted my head. Why not? You didn't mind doing it behind my back. Mom whispered. James, you told your mother? About that? Grandma smirked. Oh, he told me everything. Men confess when guilt rots deep enough. Aunt Linda leaned forward. Someone explain before I pass out. I opened the envelope. Inside were bank statements, and not mine this time.
Dad's. Mom's.
Serena's. 3 accounts. 1 pattern. 1 massive, undeniable truth. Serena didn't run because of the letter, I said. She ran because she finally realized why Dad took my money. Not once, not twice, but 6 times. Dad's face collapsed. Talia, I had to. I read aloud. Transfer $7,200 from Talia's savings to Serena Cosmetic Clinic. Transfer $4,850 from Talia's emergency fund to James and Laura credit card payoff. Transfer $2,100 from Talia's business account to Serena luxury shopping. Transfer $6,000 from Talia's account car deposit Serena. Transfer $3,200 from Talia's account cottage maintenance. Money Serena spent on a beach trip. And the last one, I said, choking a little. Transfer $12,500 from Talia hidden joint account under Dad and Serena. The room erupted. Voices.
Gasps.
What? Is this real? How could you? Dad held his head in his hands. Mom sobbed into a napkin. My sister peeked through the hallway doorway, pale, breathless, half-dressed, mascara running. Her voice shook. Dad, you said you'd pay her back. You said she'd never find out you promised. The room turned toward Dad like a jury. He whispered, I was going to fix it. Grandma leaned back.
No, James.
You were going to hide it. There's a difference. I folded the papers. And we're still not at the worst part. A chill ran through the room. Aunt Linda whispered, There's more? I nodded. There's one more secret. The one Dad begged Grandma not to tell. The one that explains everything, including why they suddenly want my cottage. Mom let out a strangled gasp. Dad's eyes filled with panic. Serena backed away as if expecting lightning. And I finally said it. Grandma, tell them what you found out about the cottage deed. Grandma folded her hands neatly in her lap, the way she did before delivering truth like a blade. Everyone leaned forward. Even Serena, still half-dressed and shivering at the hallway arch, seemed frozen in place. Grandma took a slow sip of tea. Talia, dear, would you like to do the honors? Or shall I? I nodded toward her. You started it, Grandma. Finish it. She turned her gaze toward my parents, cold, ancient, and disappointingly familiar. Your father, she began, didn't want you to see the cottage deed because… Dad lurched up. Mom, stop. This isn't the place. It's exactly the place, Grandma snapped. She continued, because the cottage is not Talia's birthday gift like you claimed. It is not family property. And it certainly isn't yours to hand to Serena. Aunt Linda whispered. Then who owns it? Grandma opened her purse, pulled out the original deed, and placed it on the table. The room fell into stunned silence. Mom's lips trembled. Dad shut his eyes. Grandma spoke clearly. The cottage was bought 9 years ago by your grandfather. Paid in full. In his will, he left it entirely to Talia. Gasps fired around the room. Even Serena stumbled back a step. I felt my heartbeat in my throat. Grandpa left it to me? Grandma nodded gently. He saw how they treated you. He wanted you to have one thing they could never touch. Dad's voice cracked. It was supposed to be ours. All of ours. The family getaway. No, Grandma said firmly. You rewrote that story. Not him. Serena burst forward, grabbing the deed with shaking hands. But Dad said, Dad promised me the cottage for New Year's. He said it was mine. I looked at her, not with anger, but pity. Serena, he lied to you the same way he stole from me. She blinked, stunned, humiliated. Grandma wasn't done. And that's not the whole truth, she said softly. There's something else your father confessed. Mom's head shot up. Mother, I know. But Grandma's voice cut through everything. The reason James tried to take control of Talia's cottage is because he used it as collateral for a debt she never knew existed. The room exploded. For a moment, nobody breathed. Serena's mouth hung open. Mom gripped the edge of the table like she might faint. Dad's eyes darted between us, cornered like a man whose last lie just snapped under its own weight. I felt my pulse pounding in my ears. Collateral? I repeated. For what debt? Grandma didn't blink. For the $140,000 loan your father took out 2 years ago. He put your cottage down as security, without your consent. Dad smacked his palm on the table. I had no choice. The business was drowning. Then you let it drown. Grandma fired back. You never gamble with your child's future. Mom jumped in, voice shrill. Talia, sweetheart, listen. We were going to fix it before you ever found out. James had a plan. Grandma cut her off coldly. His plan was to have Talia sell the cottage, so he could cover his losses. Serena stumbled backward, like she'd been shoved. You told me it was mine. You said I deserved it. You promised. Dad snapped at her. Shut up, Serena. You don't understand anything. Oh, I understand, I said quietly. Dad wanted me to hand over the cottage, so he could pay his debt, and letting Serena celebrate New Year's there was how he'd pressure me. Serena's cheeks flamed red. You're blaming me? I didn't know. Grandma pointed a stern finger. You knew enough, young lady. You just didn't care. The room buzzed like electricity. Aunt Linda whispered, This is fraud. Dad paled. Mother, don't you dare use that word. Grandma sat straighter. I'll use the correct legal term if needed. Mom's face collapsed into trembling fear. Talia, please, your father was desperate. You wouldn't really press charges over a misunderstanding, would you? I stared at her. 3 years ago, when I needed surgery, you said you were too busy to sign the consent papers. Her face drained white. I remember every time you chose convenience over me, I said. You think I'll protect you now? The room froze around those words. Dad whispered. So, what are you going to do? I leaned back in my chair.
Certain.
I'm going to let Grandma finish, I said. Because she hasn't told you the biggest part yet. Grandma folded her hands. Oh yes, she said softly. The part your father hoped would stay buried. Everyone stiffened. Even the air waited. Grandma inhaled, ready to detonate the final truth. Grandma didn't raise her voice. She didn't need to. Her words sliced clean through the room. 2 months ago, she said, the bank contacted me. They informed me that James had defaulted on the loan he took using Talia's cottage as collateral. They were preparing to seize it. Mom gasped. Serena covered her mouth. Dad looked like he'd been shot. Grandma continued. I paid the overdue amount myself, quietly, because I wanted to give James a chance to come clean. But he didn't. Instead, she turned her eyes on my father, cold as steel. He told the bank Talia would settle the remaining debt within 90 days. I sat forward slowly.
Wait.
He told the bank what? Dad swallowed hard. It was temporary. I was going to fix it before you. So you signed my cottage away, I said. Then planned to force me to pay off your debt in silence. Serena shook her head, muttering, Oh my God, oh my God. Mom lunged toward Grandma. You had no right to interfere. Grandma raised a hand. Sit down, Victoria. Before you embarrass yourself further. Mom froze. Grandma slid a crisp white envelope onto the table. Inside were bank statements, emails, loan notices, and a copy of the collateral agreement with my forged signature. Forged. My lungs stopped working. Dad, I whispered. You forged my name? He crumbled. I didn't think you'd ever find out. Serena looked at him like he was a stranger. You told me Talia didn't want the cottage anymore, that she handed it to you willingly. He slapped his forehead. Serena, shut up before you make it worse. Grandma spoke again. The bank is investigating. A forged signature is a felony. You could face prison, James. Mom clutched his arm. We can fix this, right? We can talk to them, or pay, or... Grandma cut in with a quiet thunder.
No.
Only Talia can decide what happens next. The room turned toward me.
Heavy.
Expectant. Terrified. I looked at the papers, the debt, the lies, the years of being treated like background noise in my own family. And then I looked at Grandma, the only person in the room who hadn't betrayed me. What do you want me to do? I asked her softly. She smiled, the kind of smile that tells you a storm has already been planned. Oh, sweetheart, she said, I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm here to show you what they've forgotten. She lifted another document. A deed transfer. The title. My name. Grandma whispered. They thought you owned a cottage. She tapped the paper. But you own much more. Everyone leaned closer.
Even my heartbeat did.
This, she said, is the part they never wanted you to know. The real inheritance. Grandma placed the final document on the table with a softness that frightened everyone more than anger ever could. A gold-embossed folder.
Heavy. Old.
Legal. My mother's hand flew to her chest. No, she whispered. Mom, you didn't. Grandma nodded calmly. Oh, I absolutely did. She turned the folder toward me. Talia, this is the Hart family estate transfer. Your grandfather and I amended it 12 years ago. After watching the way your parents treated you, the neglect, the favoritism, the emotional abandonment, we made a decision. My breath hitched. Serena leaned in, eyes bulging. Dad croaked. What decision? Grandma looked directly at him. That every asset under our name, the farmland, the 2 apartment complexes, the stocks, the trust accounts, the lake cabin, and yes, the main house, would bypass you entirely and transfer straight to Talia on her 25th birthday. Dead silence. Then Serena shrieked. What? SHE gets everything. Why would you? Grandma didn't look at her. If you speak to me in that tone again, you can leave this house barefoot. Serena's mouth snapped shut. Dad stumbled toward the table, snatching the papers with shaking hands. This can't be legal. Grandma tapped his wrist. It's already executed. The only reason Talia didn't know earlier is because she never asked for anything. She worked. She struggled. She endured. And you, her gaze speared my parents, took advantage of that. Mom's face collapsed. That estate was meant to go to both daughters. Grandma's voice sharpened like a blade. You raised one daughter and used the other. I felt tears burn behind my eyes, not from sadness, but from a strange, rising strength. What do I do now? I whispered. Grandma cupped my jaw gently. You choose peace. Not revenge. Not anger. Peace. I inhaled slowly. Then I turned to my parents.
Dad.
Mom. I'm not pressing criminal charges. But I'm done pretending we're a family. Serena blinked. So, we just lose everything? I looked at her.
No.
You lose what you stole. I'm only taking back what was mine. Grandma smiled, proud, sad, relieved. That night, I left with the documents tucked under my arm and the cottage keys warm in my palm. Outside, the winter air felt cleaner, lighter, like I could finally breathe. My family didn't follow me out. They couldn't. They were too busy facing the silence they built for themselves. As I reached my car, Grandma called out softly behind me, "Talia, this is your beginning, not your ending." I turned, heart steady for the first time in years. "I know," I said. "And I'm ready." I drove away without looking back.